Welcome to the Get Better Not Older podcast, the first of hopefully many, many, many more to come. I'm Dr. Rob Jones. This is my wife, Shannon, the ultimate dietitian. So basically, we decided to do this podcast because we've seen clinical similarities in both our practices. So the Get Better Not Older movement is to help you move better, feel better, so you can live better. A little bit about myself. I am in my 25th year of clinical practice as a chiropractor, so specialize in the spine and joints and how things move, but I also specialize in soft tissue disorders like carpal tunnel syndrome, rotator cuff syndromes. I do a lot of active release therapy, so I do some soft tissue work, but I also do a lot of functional rehab and exercise and strength and conditioning, because once you fix a problem, you've got to teach the patient, and the person has to know how to move better so they can stay out of my office. That's yours truly. Let's find out what my awesome wife Shannon does.
Well, I'm a clinical dietitian. I have 31 years of experience.
Because she's so much older than me.
That's right. And so much more knowledgeable.
That's true too.
And I specialize in obesity prevention. I have certifications in pediatric, adolescents, and adult weight management. I would say the majority of my career has been spent on cellular nutrition, using more of a functional nutrition approach, an integrative medicine approach to preventing disease with nutrition.
Love it. And the certification you just got?
So I did a training just to sharpen my tools in the integrative medicine realm, which I intend to incorporate in this podcast.
Right. And we think that's really kind of the future, or what should be the future of medicine really in the U.S. Because right now with the medical system, we have a fix the symptom type of medicine, right? Versus get to the foundation and fix the actual underlying source or the problem. Foundational work is really what we combine to do. I try to find what the cause of pain is, get people out of it, teach them to move better. You try to find the nutritional deficit or a microbiome deficit or whatever it is, get to the foundation, make it better, not just treat the symptom. What our saying is with Get Better Not Older is move better, that's me. Feel better, that's me and you, so we can live better, that's both of us combined. So between the two of us, we've got pretty much over 50 years of combined clinical experience. And really, part of the reason we're bringing this podcast is, number one, our dinner table conversations. When our kids aren't here, she and I just kind of dork out about what science we read that day. And we have been kind of almost like family physicians, if you will, for our friends and family for as long as we've been together, which is almost 30 years. How many times have we fixed friends' problems? Oh, my 8-year-old's constipated, or I have these allergies. And not that we're practicing physicians. Well, I'm technically considered a chiropractic physician, but we're not trying to say we're medical doctors, but we bring it from a health standpoint, not just, oh, take this medicine because you have this symptom.
I think most everybody is used to an allopathic way of medicine, which is more what we, consider Western medicine. And it definitely has its place, no doubt. Integrative and functional is more, most of the times those are practicing MDs who also are practicing functionally or integratively, meaning they're both Western medicine and more of a, if your body is sending you a symptom, let's figure out what's wrong with it versus just prescribing a med to control the symptom.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what we're talking about is we want to help everybody improve from the inside out, literally. And it's more, like you said, at the foundation. Like, you can't jump into wanting to lose weight or do this or whatever if foundationally, nutritionally, you're not in a good place metabolically.
So that's why clinically we've teamed up for years and years. I get somebody who has a pretty bad knee problem, they've got a lot of inflammation, I can get them out of pain, but if their underlying inflammatory process isn't a lot better, they're really not going to glean the benefits of getting as healthy orthopedically as they can or functionally as they can. So that's where you come in, clean up their diet, teach them how to actually be better from the inside out, decrease the inflammation, and then we have kind of this more holistic approach. Another driving force of this is we really see a lot of people slipping through the cracks as far as when we age. There's this kind of misconception, right? And I see it every day, especially now that we live in Florida. We've got a more, I don't want to say elderly population, but definitely an older population. So my office is actually in a commercial space, and there, I swear there isn't an hour that I can't look out where people are walking along the walkway to go to other, commercial spaces. And we've got this hunched over society where people are just walking, barely shuffling, and they don't look that much older than you and I. But so that's where I come in. I want people to move better. You want to decrease fall risk. You want to decrease hip injuries. You want to decrease broken wrists. You've got to strengthen your legs. You've got to strengthen your core, and it has to be very specific. People need to get out of those stupid, big, bouncy shoes where they're completely disconnected from the ground and their balance is even getting worse. So that's my side of things. Get people moving better so then we can get them improved from the outside to your inside. And then another thing is how much inflammation is going on. You go into any grocery store and 99.9% of that grocery store is bad for you. I mean, it's really sad, but you talk about it all the time where inflammation is running rampant, and that's what's causing the vast majority of our issues, right?
14 of the top 15 diseases that people suffer and die from are from inflammation.
Give me a couple of examples.
Diabetes, heart disease, obesity, hypertension, those are, I would say, are the big hitters. But then we've got a lot of autoimmune disease that is happening that is 100% inflammation based. It's a concern because I think what most people think is that, like you said, as they age, they're supposed to look humped over and have a list of medications this long and just spend their time going to doctor's appointments. Mm-mm. In reality, it should be the polar opposite. It should be, I think just recently we saw the
sprinter. Yeah, the 86-year-old sprinter who ran a 100-meter dash in 17 seconds or something, which sounds pretty slow compared to the world record times, which are below 10 seconds. But I guarantee the average, he was 86 or 89, I guarantee the average 50-year-old couldn't run a 100-meter dash in less than 20 seconds. So,
nor do they really need to. However, the type of shape he had to stay in internally and externally to get him to the point where he could do something like that is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the vision that we have, is this get better, not older, it's not aging like your parents did. Yeah. It is aging in a way that honestly, 60 is the new 40, and we have every resource available that we need for that to be a reality.
Yeah.
And it's all about taking care of your nutrition at a cellular level and taking care of this body that you've been given from, I would say a lot of people don't take their ligaments and their tendons and all of that seriously, like their joints, like something hurts and they just stop moving. Mm-hmm. And then that turns into this. And then, you know what I mean? Like it's just this cascade where if there's just simple exercises that they could do on a daily basis could prevent that from just going on year after year.
Well, there's two impediments to that. Okay, so number one, pain is scary, right? So when somebody hurts their knee, they go, oh, I can't move their knee. I can't move my knee. Or if they hurt their back, doctors used to tell people, oh, you hurt your back, go to bed and just rest. It's the worst thing you can do, especially for back pain. The data shows the more you move, the better you get. But people don't know how to move and which ways to move. That's where I come in. We also have an impediment to the fact that people think they just are supposed to age and be crumply that way. And they're supposed to spend their money going to doctors later in life. How about they spend a little bit of their money up front so they can prevent getting that way? How many times have we talked about where people say, oh, I can't afford, not that I'm that much or you're that much, I can't afford to see somebody out of pocket. My insurance doesn't cover it. Well, for a couple $100, it's pay now or pay later. And if you're going to pay later, you're going to pay way more, because one of my new patient visits is $170. Yours is what? About 100. Okay. Give or take. All right. You go to a cardiologist for the first time and that's about $350. Have procedures done, you're in the tens of thousands. Yes, your insurance is going to cover it, but then your deductible is going to reflect that, because that's going to go up every year based on your usage. So we have this weird kind of mentality of, oh, I'll spend money on a brand new Beamer or a nice watch or cool clothes, but or to get a facial. What did you say about you getting your hair done? Some places are like $300 or $400. Mm-hmm. I haven't paid for a haircut in like 20-something years, so I don't know about that. Right? That's my haircut. But anyways, I digress. But people will spend, women will spend $300 to $400 to get their hair done and the color, but I can't afford to go to a dietitian. It's like, you can't not afford to see Shannon and me, because you will end up like the people you're seeing, okay? People like Mark Sisson, who, if you don't know who he is, he's the guy who created Primal Kitchen. He's over 70. The guy looks amazing. Other people who are outliers, they shouldn't be outliers. They don't have this amazing genetic code. What they've done their whole lives is they've prioritized what we're talking about. They've eaten healthy for decades. They've cut out all the crap. They've decreased their inflammation, and they move. They don't do anything technical. I was watching a podcast with Mark Sisson not too long ago. He does balance work on a slack line, that's maybe a little technical, but you can hop on one foot and get those same benefits. But he does trap bar deadlifts, not very heavy, which is where you step inside that bar and picks up some weight off the ground, which I tell all my patients to pick stuff up off the ground, right? You have to know how to get up and down. You have to be able to pick things up. You have to have grip. But if you have a really good program, like, by the way, we have in our GBNO app, you can do all these things. It's not impossible. That person is not an outlier. That person has just put the effort in.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to your comment about the food in the grocery store. I mean, sadly, the food system is killing us. I mean, and it sounds really morbid, but it's the honest to God truth. And a lot of people who know us well, I think, are sometimes intimidated by our lifestyle. And it's not so much that everybody has to do it to the degree that we do, because that's our passion and that's what we do and that's what we enjoy. But the Get Better Not Older is just showing the basics of how you can really kind of tweak your lifestyle, tweak the way you shop, tweak the way you build your meals, et cetera, so that you can get those same results as life goes on. I mean, the whole point is that you're not dealing with disease and illness, that you're actually able to spend your money on what you love doing. So you might spend a little more now on, say, good, healthy food. And I believe wholeheartedly in organic food that's not sprayed, because those pesticides are causing disease and causing issue. You spend a little bit more now, but that is going to prevent these diseases that are going to be exponentially more expensive to deal with. Not only that, your time that you're spending at the doctor's office is going back and forth, the medications that you're taking, et cetera, et cetera. So this program is all about investing in your health, and we give a step-by-step approach to how that looks. Yeah,
absolutely. And one more thing on the aging, it's not as hard as you think it is. If you just change a couple of things here and there, it's not impossible. You can still go to parties and drink a beer and eat a burger. I mean, I do. I mean, we still cheat. You have to. We're human. If you love chocolate cake, have a piece of chocolate cake. Just don't do it every day. And I think another secret too is knowing your ingredients and how bad they are for you or how good they are for you. Because you taught me this. A lot of people think they're eating healthy when they're not eating healthy, especially when it comes to processed seed oils and omega-6 fatty acids and that sort of thing. So
I think, honestly, it's not as big of a tweak as you think it is. It's literally just me suggesting a different product than what you're used to buying. It's really, I like to call it hack stacking. I mean, it's just little hacks from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed that can make, once we stack those all together, it ends up being this bigger change that doesn't feel that big because it's been little changes throughout the day. Those add up, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I mean, it does make a difference, even though people have this kind of all or none. Well, if I can't be perfect and live in this perfect lifestyle way, then why even try? That's not how it works. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, so I know you see this, and I even have and I'm not the diet person here, you are, but people will say, I'm going to go on a diet, and then they give it a week, and then they say, well, I couldn't do my diet, so now I'm done. It's how about make good choices 80 to 90% of the time, and so you screw it up a little bit. So if you have a really bad Saturday because you're at a party, you're at the beach, or you're on vacation and you eat like crap for a couple of days, that's fine. It doesn't have to be carte blanche, eating whatever you want and then never doing anything good. If you get to Sunday night, okay, and you've really blown up that weekend, start fresh on Monday. Just don't give up on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make some good points here, but I will say, by and large, what I really believe wholeheartedly in is that people adapt a new normal. Like the way that they live, whether it's they choose to overdo it on the weekends and then get back on track Monday, whatever that is, whatever they decide, those patterns and those behaviors and what they're doing has got to meet the needs of their health, whatever that is. So there's no really such thing as a diet that we go on and off. It is literally learning a new way of living that is done in a way that you foresee yourself doing for the rest of your life. Everybody is so different, and that's kind of a lot of the times where I come in and individualize and help people on an individual basis, because what works for some may not work for others, and it's a matter of figuring that out so that you don't feel like you're going on or off patterns. It should be just your new way of living, and that new way of living should meet your health needs and should, help you sustain a healthy weight and should help you age properly by good posture and good, mobility. You see what I mean? Like all of the things. We're always going to have holidays. We're always going to have birthdays. We're always going to have life throws us a curveball. Okay, so we have how we behave during those times that is done in a way that we aren't just completely throwing in the towel, but we learn to moderate during those times. And then the other times we get back to what we know works.
Yeah, and you taught me something years ago. I never have thought about it because, well, I'm not a dietitian, but to me, food has always just been, give me some fuel so I can go. And you explained that food is emotional, celebratory.
Unfortunately, people have forgotten why we even have food.
Right. Which is what?
Well, this earth grows in perfection, exactly what we need to take care of our body.
So for nutrition, basically. Yeah.
So we need it to actually do a very purposeful job in our body. And in, our Get Better Not Older protocol, I go through that because it's fascinating. I mean, your body is really impressive the way we were built. But it really relies on you to put that in there. And if you are using food for entertainment, for emotion, for all of the plethora of reasons people are using food now, and don't ever stop to think, what am I putting in my mouth? And is this feeding disease or am I preventing disease? Because that's really what it boils down to. Those are the types of things that we try to unravel for everybody and make it simple so that it's not always about giving up things. It's about, well, what are you adding so that you can improve your health with what you're putting in your mouth?
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. So really, the Get Better Not Older podcast, just to recap, we're about healthy living from the inside out and the outside in. Move better, feel better, live better. So what you can expect every podcast is something to do with the musculoskeletal side, which is me, something to do with the inside-out cellular side, which is Shannon.
That's right. Every week we're going to have a different topic, and it all kind of correlates nicely with our Get Better Not Older protocol that goes into much more detail than we will here, but we always like feedback. And
yeah, so just go ahead and direct message us on Instagram or any of the socials, and if you have topics you want covered, let us know, and we'll get them out there for you. So until next time, for Shannon, I'm Dr. Rob. Don't forget to get better, not older, so you can move, feel, and live better.